Gina Hawkins is the Executive Director of Keep Alachua County Beautiful. She is the former Recycling Coordinator and Public Information Officer for the City of Gainesville. Gina spent 17 years with the city and, working with Alachua County solid waste staff, helped make Alachua County and the City of Gainesville leaders in recycling in the state of Florida. Gina has been a key member of several professional organizations. She was president of the American Public Works Association Santa Fe branch and past director and legislative chair of the Solid Waste Association of North America Waste Reduction, Recycling, and Composting Technical Division. She also served on the Alachua County Solid and Hazardous Waste Public Information Committee. She spent 20 years on the board of Keep Alachua County Beautiful, the organization she now directs. Gina has a Master of Science degree in Resource Economics from the University of Florida and a Bachelor of Science degree in Conservation and Resource Development from the University of Maryland. Welcome, Gina.
Thank you, Mark.
So let's just start. For those who are unaware, can you tell our viewers what is Keeping Alachua County Beautiful?
Well, Keep Alachua County Beautiful is a nonprofit 501c3 organization that works to give citizens the opportunity to keep our community clean, to beautify it through everyday activities such as recycling and longer-term projects like planting, removing graffiti, picking up litter, those sorts of activities.
You've been the director for 2 years now, right?
Right, right.
And Jean Rochford was your predecessor, is that correct?
There have been a couple, but she was our first executive director. Actually, that's not so.
Who was the first?
Linda White was the first, yeah. That's.
And when was it established?
Oh, in '91 is when we incorporated as a nonprofit with the state of Florida, and then we went through a really strict system of getting affiliated with Keep America Beautiful. There are a lot of requirements for that, and we are an affiliate of the largest volunteer organization in America.
And that's, you know, most people are familiar with Keep America Beautiful. Maybe the most iconic symbol was the American Indian on his horse with the tear running down his eye. That's
right, Iron Eyes
Beautiful.
Cody. Yes.
What was his name?
Iron Eyes Cody. Yes, we were. I was raised on that, seeing that, you know, people start pollution, people can stop it, types of slogans.
Yeah, very, very powerful campaign. So what is the mission? I mean, succinctly, what I know basically what it is, but do you have your mission statement memorized, or? Not
memorized, but it's basically to protect our natural resources here and to enhance them through citizen involvement. That's what's key here. A lot of folks look at environmental groups and say, oh, it's about the environment, something else, but really Keeping Alachua County Beautiful deals with more concrete and just tangible benefits that some folks might not consider. For example, if we improve our community, then we're sending a message to people that this is a great place to invest in as far as economic development. It tells criminals this is not a place to do crime, this is a place where people care. And so by doing these activities that seem so simple, picking up litter, painting over graffiti, we can actually improve our community and make it very much a low crime community.
You know, the reason I gave you a call last week was at a county commission meeting a couple of weeks ago. Our board expressed a concern that they had been hearing from citizens about litter issues, particularly on county roads. And I know county roads in the unincorporated area present unique challenges, you know, versus urban roads that are have medians. And so we thought it would be a good idea to just talk with you, and I know, I don't want to get too far ahead of the interview, but I know you've got some really exciting stuff coming up. And I thought if our board is concerned about litter, then we need to talk with you and see how we can help. The most, I guess, iconic event that you're involved with, would that be the Great American Cleanup?
Yes, yes, yeah. We're, let's see, gosh. It's changed names over the years, but it's been more than 15 years that we've been involved with the Great American Cleanup. It was the Great Florida Cleanup, and we used to just call it the Cleanup. But overall, we're one of the organizations in the country that's been the longest involved with the Great American Cleanup.
Does that happen on the same day nationwide?
It happens in the spring, and depending if you're in the south or the north, you may want to have it sooner or later because it's hard to pick up litter if it's covered with snow. But here we try to do it early enough that folks won't have to be out in very high temperatures.
And tell me about it. Well, how do you organize it? What's involved?
Well, we organize volunteers from across the community, and this can be groups or individuals. And the University of Florida is a huge source of volunteers for us. A lot of service organizations, fraternities, sororities, environmental organizations, and cultural organizations, all like to chip in. They easily comprise more than 25% of our volunteers just from the university. I
know you've got a lot of sponsors for this event, both the national event and the local event. Can you tell us about some of that?
Well, the local support's been great. One of our longest time sponsors is Domino's Pizza. Betty Wiebe has always helped us in feeding our volunteers on the Great American Cleanup main event day. We also are so well sponsored by the City of Gainesville and Alachua County. Both the city and county have been longtime supporters.
Boy, Domino's seems to be there for just about everyone in this community.
Yeah, Betty's got a big heart, and it shows.
I know Lowe's is involved as well.
Yes, Lowe's is involved both locally and at the national level, and we were fortunate enough to receive a $20,000 grant to help the school board of Alachua County implement a food to school to work program, which basically helps children learn to prepare food and to actually enjoy the food in their own cafeterias, and then learn work professions, jobs in the future related with food.
I thought it was made a lot of sense that Glad Bags was also a sponsor. I bet I know how they sponsor the.
You're right. That's a kind of conspicuous one with the bags. I mean, we've had other sponsors over the years, but with Hefty and Ruffy's, but Glad has been our go-to corporation for bags, and they've kept us in bags. We really do appreciate it.
Grandiflora Nursery.
Right, Alan Shapiro of Grandiflora comes through with plants and helps us to do some of our landscaping projects, offering advice for those projects as well. But he's been a consistent supporter year after year. He's helped us to help people who cannot afford resources to plant their gardens at least have the materials, and then they, the community or neighborhood, find the people to do the work.
Do you do that kind of beautification effort during the Great American Cleanup, or are those kind of freestanding projects? Or?
Well, the Great American Cleanup is really a year-round event, and then we have a main event. So, you know, it culminates in this March 21st event this year on Saturday, March 21st, from 8 until noon. People will gather at the Albert Ray Massey Park, better known as West Side Park, to go out and do projects including landscaping, planting, removing graffiti, stenciling storm drains so people know not to dump their waste into the storm drains. So
tell me about, when we were talking earlier, you'd mentioned the litter index score.
Right.
What is that, and what does it measure?
It's a number no one wants to believe, but it's a very scientific number in the sense that there were people who actually rode out and looked at it. It's not like I said, gee, we're doing pretty good. This was a group of people from across the community who were invited to ride with us on a selected route. We do this each year so we compare the same areas to the same areas year after year and decide whether there's a few pieces of litter, a few more pieces of litter, too much litter, absolutely trash, and it's a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the best score you can get.
And is this a combination of within the cities and in the rural areas, or how do you make up where you look? It's
all over the county and through the urban areas like Gainesville and across places like that. But it's a selected route, and it goes as far east through Hawthorne, and west it goes out to High Springs. So it's a pretty big area that we cover.
1 is the best, 5 is the worst.
Right.
Where did we stand in the most?
2.41 this last time around.
Kind of right in the middle.
Well, it's interesting because we take the survey in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that folks didn't realize when they saw the published number this year. And in the summer, the grass is taller. There's a mowing schedule. The crews are out there more often picking up trash. And our volunteers, they're off school, they go out and pick up trash too. Well, come December, which is when there was a story published, grass has died back, plants have died back, the students are on break. So it looked pretty bad out there. I have to agree with folks who said, what?
So how much lower or higher do you think it would have been if it had been in the winter?
Oh, well, just in that 2-week period, again, it's just this real little window.
Yeah.
And that just happens to be when, we sent this information out in the summer,
Gotcha.
and then it didn't get published
Gotcha.
until much later, so it wasn't timely.
So scale, litter index aside, what is your just feeling about litter in Alachua County, and are we getting a handle on it, or in general, how are you feeling about it?
We're good on a lot of fronts in that we do pick up our trash. We do remove the litter very well. And for the most part, there's a lot of very clean streets, but the other part of it is there's some really trashed places. And this is why we're getting ready to start a new campaign to influence people to not just pick up litter, but don't throw it down in the first place. That's the #1 way to keep litter from landing on the roadside.
It's hard to believe, with all the attention in the last 40 years on littering, that people still make the decision to roll their window down and chuck something out of their car. This is a good segue, though. You mentioned a new campaign. So tell us about Drive at Home, Keep Our Paradise Litter Free.
Well, it's basically a social media campaign to involve the folks who litter the most. Sadly, this is middle-aged guys who are
What?
I know. You feel bad about this. I feel bad about it too. And some of it's kind of insidious. People who throw trash in the back of their truck, and yet the truck never gets full of litter because it's blowing out. So people don't think they're really littering on the road, but that's where it ends up. So the campaign is to get people to have a litter bag in their vehicle, because that's going to increase the likelihood that you have somewhere to put it, not just look around your nice clean car and say, I don't want this in here. Mm-hmm. For me, the idea of throwing it out on the road has always been bizarre to me, because if someone threw trash on my lawn, I would be upset. And yet here it is, someone doing that to someone else so that they don't have to deal with emptying something as simple as a litter bag.
Right. How did you determine who the most likely person was to litter?
Observation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sociological studies. People are studying your trash out there. Yeah, when we get it down to DNA, we'll really be able to make heads roll here. But
and what will the focus of the marketing be? I know you've got a lot of exciting components in this campaign.
Well, one thing is, of course, to create an image. Who those people who litter would rather be associated with. We don't think they want to be signaled out as litter bugs, and so when you have sports leaders who are represented, we've got a bunch of NFL players who are involved in the campaign, some NASCAR drivers, and golf professionals, folks who people in your your group would recognize.
I have a trash bag in my car, I swear.
I don't watch a lot of football, so they're telling me these names and I'm supposed to be going, yeah. But they're some nice posters, because we do want to influence children as well, and they look up to sports stars as role models. So when they see those people, they hopefully will say, not only do I want to grow up to be an excellent ball player maybe, but also I want to be like that guy who doesn't litter, who takes a strong position against it.
Where is the funding coming from for
the
this
Department
program?
of Transportation has
Florida Department of
helped us out.
Transportation?
The Florida Department of Transportation has
Okay.
been working with us in this state. Across the country, the Florida Department of Transportation has been involved to some extent, which it's clear why. Roads. That's where the litter is. That's where it's causing problems, not just visually, but also as far as mowing equipment, bottles, cans. This is expensive. Mm-hmm. It is expensive to get that litter off the roadway so it isn't a hazard to those types of maintenance issues. And as far as just having a great reputation in our state, our Florida Department of Transportation came through with grants. And they gave those grants only to affiliates that were in good standing with Keep America Beautiful. Why? Because they can count on us. We have a track record. They know exactly what we're going to do with those funds. We're going to return about as much as $23 in service for every dollar that they invest. That's a pretty good track record.
That's when you include volunteers and all the sponsors.
Right. Yeah. You know, we get donations from so many sponsors out there. Even our little Maud's restaurant over here, they help out with something as simple as a gift certificate. I'm thinking some of the other folks, WCA, those are the folks who pick up our residential curbside trash. Mm-hmm. They help out with services. Waste Pro, another good one. Recycling Services of America. There's so many sponsors, too many to mention, but bringing together not just people involved in the waste industry, but people who basically get their livelihood from having folks enjoy Alachua County, come here, they derive an economic benefit, and they're willing to help us out.
In addition to the obvious, which is you don't want people to roll down their window and throw trash out of their car, I know there are other things that you're also concerned about that are big contributors to littering. Can you tell us some of those?
Well, one thing is to have somewhere to put the trash. Oftentimes people can't find a receptacle, so it's important for government to provide that opportunity, or for private businesses to have receptacles in front of their commercial areas so that people can put the trash where it belongs. That includes cigarette butts, having cigarette butt receptacles, because people will not and should not let cigarettes in trash cans. So it's really both types of receptacles, and also securing your load. If you're hauling material somewhere, to have a tarp over it, to tie it down. This is a huge source of litter on the roadway. I know it's not intentional, but when you don't cover your load, then you're inviting litter to blow out onto the road. Another is to pick up trash. You know, maybe you'll see 1 or 2 or 3 pieces in front of your office, in front of your school, in front of your home, and to pick those few pieces of litter up can make a huge difference. A couple ways. One is that if you pick it up, people are less likely to throw more down. They don't view it as a place where litter happens. And the other is, real clear that it's just cleaner and it looks better, property values rise, all the things that we like.
Boy, if 250,000 people would pick up 1 piece of trash a day, that would be significant.
Oh, I think it would be huge. And since we all have somewhere we live, or somewhere we work, or somewhere that we go to school, that kind of accounts for everything, really. There's very little property that isn't owned or in the public domain, and we find it really easy to address the public areas because there's staff that works out there, there's volunteers who will go out and pick up a public area, but not necessarily a private area, because they feel it is everyone's responsibility to do their part.
When will we start seeing some of the elements of the Drive at Home campaign begin? What's the timing on this?
In the next few weeks, we'll be kicking off a couple of campaigns. One of them is aimed at the college students, which they've been very good, but we want to continue to reinforce that message. And the way it will be done is through cultural means. Art shows, fashion shows, not what we tell them to do, but what they create. We want them to make a mechanism for sharing that message with their fellow students. Another is aimed at the community, and that'll be a few weeks later. It will be larger, and it will wrap up, well, the college one wraps up, I think, by about April 10th or so, but the community one goes a little longer, and that will involve people of all ages.
And how do people get involved? I mean, is it as simple as just getting in touch with Keeping Alachua County, or Keep Alachua County Beautiful, if they want to volunteer, if they want to?
The easiest way is to go to our website, and it's a real easy website. It's our initials, KACB.org, and that's KACB as in Keep Alachua County Beautiful.org. And you'll see a spot that says event registration, and if you'll give us some information, we'll be in touch and slot you into a program or help you find what it is that you would like to do to help keep Alachua County beautiful.
Great. In reading your information that you gave to me, I was really impressed with the number of organizations and what organizations were directly involved with you. I thought the Reichert Academy, the Reichert House, was particularly interesting. Can you tell us about that cooperation?
I've always had a special place in my heart for that academy in particular because it deals with populations who might not view environmental issues as a priority. And so what we're able to do is work with the youths there in establishing just how what they do, what litter they throw out, affects the quality of their neighborhood, their quality of life. Chief Tony Jones for Gainesville Police Department has done a great job over there, and we wanted to reward that by getting involved with their landscaping project for their new building. They have a brand new building, and we worked with the brave overt leaders of distinction, and those are the older guys who've already gone through Reichert Academy. They're, I think, 18 to 21 about, and they helped dig the ditches, put the trees in, dig the holes, lay the sod, do all the things, and they were just so hardworking, and it's truly a beautiful facility as a result. We had donors provide plants. Again, Grandiflora is always there. Tropical trees out of High Springs. They donated trees. A lot of people came through.
I know Joyner Construction was involved.
They built that new facility at their expense. I think that's just
amazing.
Huge. Yeah, and we hope to continue to help them in maintaining those facilities, whether it's keeping pine needles off the roof so that they don't have water damage, or teaching the youths there how to do landscaping, how to care for a lawn, care for a plant. And I think it's these nurturing skills that not only affect how they approach life, but also as far as job skills. These are good skills to have.
I know you're involved with Boys and Girls Club. Is it
Right.
Is it the same kind of thing as you do?
Well, there's 5 campuses. I was amazed when I found out this. But at Woodlands Park, we just planted a garden with them, planted some landscaping for several years. And Kohl's, our department store, they are a sponsor. They donated funds to help with the supplies for that project. They've been a long-running supporter of our projects too. But the Southeast Boys and Girls Club Rotary Campus and Mentor Center, they have a really unique situation, just in my opinion, because it's an older building. They're trying to get it back up into shape, and we put in a garden, which Kim Heisch designed. She's a landscape architect, and Grandiflora, again, donating plants to put in, and there's another company that donated the irrigation, who was out of Ocala, so that would be the Casey family down there, Casey Nursery. And they're not even in our county, but they said, wow, what a great project. We'd love to support the Boys and Girls Club. And so they donated an irrigation system for that.
You touched earlier on the University of Florida, but I know an enormous amount of your support and your volunteer come from UF organizations and students. Tell us a little more about that.
I always go from A to Z, always starting with Alpha Phi Omega, because they were such an instrumental group in keeping projects going over the last few years. They were our group that we could always call, and they would come out just about on a weekly basis to pick up litter or to do a planting or count cigarette butts, or just, what do you need us to do? Great. But again, A to Z with the Greek organizations, I've seen that the Greek organizations, the fraternities and sororities, have gotten some bad press. I just want to say that we've had just a stellar experience with them, working hard, getting out there, adopting streets, and doing projects on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And also the sports teams, as busy as their schedule is with team practice and studies, they come out and help us too. Santa Fe College, also there's an ecology class out there. They give us volunteers every week to help in pulling invasive plant species.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about Alachua County School System? Are you involved with them?
We have sought to become more involved with them. We've got a small staff. There's only a couple of us. But I have some interns right now that we might be able to broaden this out somewhat, because we want to bring the Graffiti Hurts campaign to them. It's a really important thing to affect children when they're younger, when their values are forming. And where graffiti is concerned, that's especially true. So we have materials that we will continue to distribute, and thanks to Sherwin-Williams, who gave us $2,500 worth of paint, painting supplies. Yes, we won that as an award for all of our other efforts. We're able to go an extra step. We hope to bring that to Reichert Academy as well. But there's a couple messages to bring to the schools, with the litter, anti-graffiti, and just caring, understanding, where plants fit into, their personal world for children. It's very important for them to get outdoors. You talk about taking the kids back out into the woods so they can experience that. Sometimes something as simple as just getting their hands dirty and planting plants helps them realize their connection to the planet.
Tell me about the recycle bowl and the trash off.
Well, the recycle bowl, we did that a few years ago, but we haven't done it recently. So we want to resurrect that. That's a chance to compete for prizes by recycling, by measuring those, and you can compete between classrooms or between schools. It's just a great way to get that school spirit up and get some recycled materials recovered. Now, the trash off, that is part of the Drive at Home campaign, and those are the cultural activities that we hope to do at both the college level and the community-wide level.
One of my favorite events every year is the Trash Formations art contest.
Right.
The
things people make from trash.
They're incredible.
Yeah, my favorite was a dress made out of the corrugated liner material for cardboard.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. It was beautiful. There was a Budweiser bed. I mean, there's just a lot of things that can be done with trash. Again, the old saying, one person's trash is another person's treasure, definitely holds true in the art world. I see just some amazing creations. That's kind of unique to Alachua County, the trash formations. Yeah.
Well, as the Drive at Home campaign kind of starts to get off the ground, I really look forward to working with you. It's a very high priority of the County Commission to kind of redouble our efforts to try to tackle litter, and thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Enjoyed it.
When I moved to Gainesville, people were always talking about recycling. I never did it before, so I didn't want to bother. Then I took an environmental studies class and I found out just how much stuff people throw away. Things that could be recycled into new stuff instead of just ending up in a landfill. I realized I can make the world healthier just by sorting out old cans and papers and things that are recyclable. It's easy and it makes me feel pretty good too. That's why I strive for 75. What about you?
Visit strivefor75.org today.
We used to write letters to each other a lot. A lot of the notes, they were just really dark.
Expressions of anger. When he was mad, he hit things.
He said something to me about killing himself.
You have to take it seriously. The risk is too great.
You have to try and help them get help.
Tell somebody, tell an adult, counselor, parent, whatever.
What are you going to do? Let them destroy themselves? I mean, I don't see much of a choice at all.
At socialsecurity.gov, you can apply for retirement, disability, or Medicare from your own home.
Chekhov applied in his pajamas.